What is the most optimal time for you to wager on the NFL? Well, depending on who you talk to, you might receive various different types of answers, but there are specific days and times that we want to focus our energy to finding and placing bets. Now, depending on the type of market that you like to wager on, that's also going to be dependent on a time and day. So we're going to dive into all of this. And so far through 7 weeks of betting on the NFL, I've made almost $6,000. So sit back, take some notes as we dive into exactly when you should be looking for value in the NFL. And then also I'm going to share with you the various tools that I like to use to help me gain a competitive edge. Before we jump into the specific days and times in the markets that we're wagering on, you need to understand that when we're looking at total points or the point spread or the money line, we want to use the market-making sports books like Circa, Bookmaker, and Pinnacle as our reference because they are going to be much sharper compared to the recreational books like BetMGM or DraftKings. And the reason being is because these market-making books, first off, they open up their lines first, and they also have the largest limits allowed. So professional sports bettors or betting syndicate groups can place hundreds of thousands of dollars within these markets. And that really helps nail down where the value is going to be. A lot of the recreational books like a FanDuel or ESPN Bet, they are slow to adapt early in the week when lines open up. Now, as we move later into the week, they do kind of follow these market-making trendsetter books, but early on, you can find awesome value. So for betting on the NFL, when we're looking at money lines, point spreads, and total points, the main markets for these books, the value starts Sunday Night Football, right around halftime. That's when Circa opens up their lines for next week's NFL slate of games. So the first thing that I do when it's halftime, when I'm watching the Sunday Night Football game, is I will open up the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. Guys, linked in the description is a 1-week free trial to OddsJam, and then use my code BillyC. It's going to save you 35% off your first month once the trial ends. So early on, we are going to just focus on Circa because during Sunday Night Football, Pinnacle and Bookmaker haven't released their lines yet. So you'll see Circa opens up, and then some of the recreational sportsbook like DraftKings and FanDuel will open up their lines. As you can see, this is a living, breathing market like the stock market. Pinnacle just adjusted their odds on the Ravens-Browns on the money line. So what we're really looking for is there any value? And at the moment, for whether we're looking at the Vikings money line, we would need odds below minus 160, which we're not seeing that here. Or if we wanted to bet on the Rams money line, we need value above plus really 155. The bigger the gap, the more that we have confidence in the play, the more value that there is. So I'm filming this, like I mentioned, on a Tuesday afternoon. And so there isn't any value right now really looking in what between these different games. What you want to do is just kind of go line by line to see if there is anything that stands out to us in terms of betting on the money line. Now, for the total points, this is no different. I will peruse between the money line, point spread, and total points. When these lines first open up, you will see some discrepancies in total points. So again, on a Tuesday afternoon, there isn't a lot going on for the over-under. It's a half-point difference between some books. For me, that's not large enough in terms of a gap. But maybe when we're looking at this Chiefs-Raiders game right here, Pinnacle, Bookmaker, both see this over-under around 41 points. Circa says it's at 41.5. Now, a sports book like FanDuel, we can get the under 42.5 at minus 115. So the price is slightly inflated, but compared to Bookmaker and Pinnacle, we're getting an extra 1.5, which could be a really big deal. So I don't know. I would look into this a little bit more because this isn't maybe enough of a gap. If we got this to 43 or 43.5, guys, this would be an absolute go grab it right now. But this isn't bad at 42.5, but these are the little edges that we're looking for. Remember, the NFL is a hyper efficient market. Now, coming over to point spreads when we're betting on football, this is very specific as well, depending on what type of points that we're getting at. So the first example that I would draw you to is this Cardinals-Dolphins game right here. Pinnacle plus minus 3, same for Circa. Bookmaker sees it at 3.5 as the spread. Well, it's a really big deal going from minus 3 to minus 3.5 for the Dolphins. 3 is the biggest number to pay attention to when betting on football for point spreads. So going at minus 3, we're getting this at minus 115. minus 3.5 gives us much better odds at plus 100, but it's going to be very difficult to win because a lot of games in the NFL come down to a field goal. So going from plus 3 to plus 3.5, you can see this is a very big jump. So you might think, well, this is pretty good, Billy, at plus 3.5 at FanDuel at minus 122. Well, Bookmaker sees this same line, but it's at minus 118. So again, at this point of the week right now, there isn't a ton of value at the moment because a lot of the recreational sports books have finally caught up to the sharp market maker books. For moneyline spreads and totals, as I mentioned, halftime, Sunday Night Football, awesome value. Early Monday morning, you can find some value. Then we kind of pause. As we mentioned, on a Tuesday, there's not much going on. But Wednesday is a very big deal because for all the teams that are playing on Sunday, they submit their first practice and injury reports. Now, Wednesdays are important, but not massively important because for a lot of veterans, Wednesday is another extra day off. For my Steelers, with the Cam Hayward or TJ Watt, these guys normally get the day off. For the Dolphins, running back Raheem Mostert, he's been playing in the league for a very long time. He normally gets Wednesdays off. Now, as we get later in the week for the Sunday games, Thursday and Friday is very, very important, especially Friday. If a player is limited or doesn't participate on Friday's practice, they're not going to play on Sunday. So understanding the practice reports and understanding when these reports come out can directly impact your lines. And because, as we mentioned before, the NFL is such a hyper-efficient market, this is information that you need to be aware of when you're placing your bets. If you found value in this content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and smash that bell notification so you don't miss any videos that we drop. This is what we're doing, helping you become a sharper, profitable sports bettor, the tips and the strategies and what to look out for, and you're not going to want to miss a single piece of our content. Outside of the sportsbook screen, I also use OddsJam's positive EV tool to find value in the market. So what's really important to note here, guys, is early on in the week, this is when I am focusing a lot of my time and attention on totals, spreads, money lines. Now, a new feature that OddsJam just unveiled as we expand our filters. You can see that my minimum maximum odds, guys, are completely blank. My maximum odds are plus 200. My market width is at 40 cents. I keep my minimum market width completely blank as well. I'm obviously selected for the NFL as the league and some of the various different sports books that I have accounts with. You can just choose everything right here. Also, the date range I have for the next 7 days, but the new feature that OddsJam just unveiled right here. I'm using the worst case devig method, but something that you can go and use right here is the devigging book. So instead of just going off of the OddsJam's algorithm, you can choose which sportsbook you want to focus your time and efforts on. And look at this. Pinnacle, Circa, and Bookmaker are right here. I selected Circa. So when we look at maybe the Saints and the Chargers over 41 points over at DraftKings at plus 113, we could see Bookmakers at maybe even. Pinnacle's plus 106. Circa sees this at minus 110. And then another sharp sportsbook, Bet Chris, has this at minus 102. So there's definitely some value right here with DraftKings on this over 41 on the Saints and the Chargers. Utilizing the one-click bet feature available on OddsJam is another game changer where it automatically pulls up the play for us, and then we can go ahead and smash this for $300 right here. It's so quick and easy that we can quickly identify value in the market and then make this bet. So when it comes to betting on moneyline spreads and totals, we want to do this early in the week. By the time Sunday hits, guys, I am not wagering on any types of moneyline spreads or totals. Also, if you've noticed, I'm not talking about maybe third quarter point spread or maybe first half team total for certain teams. When it comes to early in the week, I'm focusing on either main lines or slightly alternate lines for these games. Now, with player props, it's completely different. I would say 10 to 15% of my player prop bets are made just throughout the week, picking off some stale numbers using the positive EV tool at OddsJam. But I specifically focus all of my time and energy betting on player props 1 to 2 hours before kickoff. So for Thursday Night Football, that means 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am focusing on betting player props just for the Thursday night football game. For Sunday, it's going to be between 11 a.m. to noon. That's when I log on and I go ahead and grab a lot of value with player props. As we mentioned before, with a lot of different injuries and things are going on, we can find better value, but also think about the casual and square sports bettor. When do they love to bet on the NFL? They love to bet on the games an hour before kickoff. And so what you can find a lot of awesome value with is betting on unders because, well, the general public doesn't want to bet on unders, right? You're sitting down to watch that Monday Night Football game. Nobody wants to bet on the unders. So you're going to see that the overs sometimes can get very overinflated, and that's an awesome opportunity for us to swoop in and find value on the unders. Now, I also do bet overs in general. Anytime touchdown scores on FanDuel has been an awesome market for me this year to attack. Now, outside of the NFL, when we're betting on moneyline spreads and totals, you can use the same philosophy for the NBA or college football. For the NBA, it's going to be the night of. For the next day's games, sportsbooks are going to open up their lines, and you can find awesome value using the sportsbook screen. For college football, it's the early slate of the NFL 1 o'clock Eastern games. When those games hit halftime, that's when Circa opens up their lines for next week's college football games. So truly, the early bird will get the worm, and you'll find out using these books as your reference, Bookmaker, Circa, Pinnacle, you're going to be able to find awesome value in big discrepancies targeting the recreational sports books like FanDuel and DraftKings. We still have plenty of college football and NFL football around to make money off of. So click this video right here that's going to walk you through the strategy that I used to make over $12,000 in 1 month betting on college and NFL football. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to look for and what we target so that you can make consistent cash for the rest of the season.